there's a narrative, however artificial it is, from the Republican Party. It's one that hangs together, and it's one that says, the government is oppressing you, and government is not your friend, and these guys are working against you. It's hard for me to tease out what the Democratic message is nowadays, other than we're not those guys.
Well, I think you're pretty much right on that. I think that the voters pretty much see that Democrats don't seem to be fighting for them. I mean, I look at some of the people that serve in Democratic administrations. They're too often from Wall Street. I just was meeting right before this show with a group of sort of citizens, public interest people that are some from labor, some from groups like Public Citizen, who have taken on Wall Street, or on, in my view, the right side of these issues. And a number of Democrats don't want to criticize Wall Street. A number of Democrats don't want to take on the oil industry. I mean, if you're really a progressive, you want to change the structure of how our financial system works. We know it works for Wall Street. It's not working for Main Street. And I think that I think you're right exactly when you say that, RJ, that too many of us too often just say we're not that group. But that group, I mean, I once heard Bill Clinton say that the voters don't really think that either party's going to do anything. I mean, the working class white voters especially don't think either party is going to do anything for them. But then he went on to kind of talk about, but Democrats don't seem to make the contrast in what we are going to do for them in terms of fighting for economic issues.
We're talking to Senator Sherrod Brown, and you've mentioned a couple times, you were quoted in the New York Times saying too many Democrats are close to Wall Street, too many Democrats are willing to outsource jobs, and so on. How does, whether it's in the halls of the Senate or in Democratic meetings or whatever, when you say this, how does this resonate with other national Democrats? Do they take umbrage, some of them? Do they say, yeah, we desperately need a message and tell us more?
Well, it's mixed. It's a number of people, after I made some of those comments in caucus the other day, came up afterwards. A couple of them said it there, kind of echoed it, and either said thanks for saying it, more or less, or echoed what I said, and came up to me afterwards. But a number sort of they didn't say much, but they just don't agree with it. And I mean, you can see that on a whole host of issues here. We're going to be facing a trade issue coming up, Trade Promotion Authority. So it used to be called fast-track legislation, and then a couple of trade agreements that, we don't have, again, a very clear, concise message. So if you're a voter and you think, let's see, on Wall Street, the Republicans are totally in the pocket of Wall Street, but most Democrats aren't all that good fighting Wall Street either. And then they think on trade agreements, when I see these trade agreements that the public really doesn't like. I'm a voter in working-class Zanesville, Ohio, and I see that, well, the Democrats, the Republicans are totally in the pocket of these companies that outsource, but Democrats don't seem to be standing up either. So when Republicans talk about entitlement reform and strengthening Social Security, and that means we've got to cut the cost of living adjustment, they don't quite say it that way, and Democrats then respond by, well, we can compromise on this, and so we lose working class senior citizens. I mean, that's the most mind-boggling of all, that seniors, particularly white seniors, I mean, we obviously do very well among minority seniors, but a 70-year-old white working class man or woman is voting for the party that clearly wants to privatize Social Security, clearly wants to privatize Medicare, clearly, history says they oppose the creation of these two programs. Every time they've had a chance, they've tried to cripple them or privatize them, and because Democrats don't make it clear, wait a minute, Social Security is the only pension that most people in this country have now. We shouldn't be cutting it. We should be finding a way to increase it, because it's not about a budget. It's not about the budget. It's really about retirement security, and we're betraying a whole host of people whose entire income at the age of 75, or almost entire income, is the $1,200 a month they get from Social Security. We should be fighting for them instead of saying, well, we've got to save this program, and here's how we do it, by cutting a little bit